Chilltime with Jose. I'm your host, Jose, and we're going to be bringing you a lot of big CSGO news today. Nothing too much about, like, no breaking news, because, of course, if you guys don't know, it'd be kind of reckless for me to bring in breaking news and stuff like that of players that could be, under the cloud, not under the cloud, and stuff like that. But we did get a bit of an update into the NA not ESCA matchfixing scandal. I think it's a bit more than that, but the NA matchfixing scandal. And we're going to go through Ian Smith's interview and stuff like that. We're going to go through the article first of all before we get onto it. And we're also going to go through the DDoSing as well. And then we're going to go through, a lot of other stuff as well. Like, a lot of other tournaments are starting up and everything like that. Now, let's get up to the first thing here, because we're going to go to the website. And first of all, so basically, Ian Smith did a interview, and Smith got called off so many times. Nah, actually, Ian actually mentioned it in the interview. There's 25 to 30 players that weren't match fixing. Okay, they honestly got caught betting on other games, and he said, like, he did say something about it. Like, they did talk about it, that the 25 to 30 players banned were not involved at all. Like, they were legit. As I said before, how I keep saying it over and over again, they didn't know. They didn't know any better. But you got to remember, like, a lot of the guys in the Australian scene are literally in high school, 16 to 18. Okay, like, this is the first time they've encountered ESIG, and I'm gonna tell you now, it's kind of like, oven hot scenario where they're not gonna do it again. Like, they aren't going to be betting on leagues. They know better now. Now, let's talk about this. Okay, so NA scene, blah blah blah. Esports Watch Group, RIP NA Valorant scene. I'm not totally too sure. Yeah, you gotta see who's, where the cards fall. And basically, Ian Smith, essentially, it's been investigation since September 2020, covering two groups, opportunistic betting, obviously, and also betting syndicate. So there's two ways he's basically saying it, is that, players betting on themselves and stuff like that. When opportunity came in, that's opportunistic. And there's also classic match fixing, where basically betting syndicates are being like, hey man, throw this match and I'll pay you a bunch of money. That kind of stuff. And that's classic match fixing, according to Ian. So it's a big investigation. There's an interview here. We'll go through an interview now, just quickly. So they talk about it here. This is /32, as you guys can know. And this is obviously Ian Smith, the head of ESIG. And they talk about it here.
The match fixing that ESIC was working into, I think it was specifically in North America. Are you able to speak on that, or is it still under wraps?
I'm afraid I can only speak in general terms. There are two distinct elements to this investigation, which I can tell you. The one is...
Also, before we go on, I must comment, I have the same issues with lighting as Ian Smith and Slash, okay? I'm gonna say that. Same issues with lighting every time. But let's continue. But, like, basically, this is a really, really big... Like, if you want to get the full interview, I recommend listening to the full interview. But this is like a 7-minute segment. We're going to listen to all of it. And, of course, follow /32 if you enjoyed the interview. And follow, of course, Ian Smith if, you enjoy...
That we have a...
And before we keep going on as well, if you enjoy, like, basically what he's done. Like, if you guys don't know what Ian Smith's done, Ian Smith's taken on the South African betting scandal. And a lot of other betting scandals as well, where his life was on the line.
A very focused... investigation around where we have really, really good corroborating evidence from Discord, from various chat logs, screenshots.
You know what I'm really happy with? I'm really happy that a person who's old as Ian's like 60s, I think Ian's like 50, 60, that knows about Discord, knows about chat logs, and knows about screenshots. It's really, really good to have a person who's into the esports scene actually know everything about it. Okay, like all this stuff that people use.
And recordings of players that we are going to ban for a very, very long time, a group. The reason I say that there's two elements to this is that this particular group of players, where I'm optimistic that we'll be able to go public with this soon, within the next sort of 10 days, 2 weeks. But it is part of a far bigger investigation, which is going to take us a little bit longer, unfortunately, which is that there has been, amongst a relatively small but significant group of players over a long period of time, organized match fixing in North American MDL, which is different to what the betting scandal that we saw in Australia, where whilst it was a large group of players, and there definitely is match fixing there, and we'll be finished, we're working with law enforcement there, and it takes a lot longer.
Now, first of all, this is the thing, okay? This is what people got, okay, out of the AU figure, because he goes on to explain afterwards. He basically says a small group of people, okay? It's not that big, okay? A lot of people were like, oh, all the 42 people are banned for match fixing. They take this part about it, but never listen to this part.
Once you start working with the police, because fortunately in Australia, these are criminal offences. And so getting it all coordinated with the police takes a lot longer. We've got great solid cases there. And if it was just us acting alone, we could, announce those prosecutions now. But it isn't all 42 guys that were betting. It's a much smaller group that within that were.
Okay, you see that? So you guys, remember you hear that? It's not the 42 players in AU match fixing. It is a very, very small sample, okay? Someone actually said 25 to 30 people were like basically like, it's just normal things. Like, for example, who was it? I forget the guy's name in football. I got his Heath Shaw, where Heath Shaw betted on, who was it? Glenn Maxwell. No, it wasn't Glenn Maxwell, it was Nick Maxwell to kick the first goal. Okay, like he got suspended for, I think, 3 or 4 games for bet, like that kind of thing. That's what's happened here. Is that the players weren't even betting on weren't even betting against themselves or anything like that. They betted on another league thinking, hey, this is fine because we're not involved in it, not realizing that, that there are serious repercussions for it because they're like 15 or 16. They've never been introduced to ESIC and stuff like that. They don't know, like, they're behind the scenes and stuff like that. Now, of course, now they should know, but they weren't doing it with that intention in mind.
Not just betting, but manipulating outcomes. In North America, it's much more serious. What I would describe as classic match fixing. In other words, it's players being bribed by outside betting syndicates in order to fix matches, rather than players just kind of doing it off their own bat opportunistically. And it's been going on for longer. It's much more organized. So and again, to some extent, working with law enforcement, with the FBI, who only recently.
Now, this is the craziest part. The FBI, and they don't mess around. Like, the FBI do not mess around. And a lot of these players who are now, like, there's a lot of people speculating on who players they are and stuff like that. They're going to be under the spotlight and might be going away for some serious time because the FBI doesn't mess around.
We have had a sports betting investigative unit within the FBI. So they're quite, they're good, but they're inexperienced because sports betting has never been a big thing in America until recently. And so everybody's kind of finding their feet on that one. So that's the second part, is a much more serious part. The first part we'll deal with, quite quickly because we're dealing with idiots, basically.
The funny part is he's not kidding. Like, the first part I think he's referring to, I think he's maybe referring to the AU scene, not the NA scene. A lot of people feel like he was dealing with the NA scene, but if he's talking about the AU scene, about the guys who are doing it off their own backs, because some of them have, like, literally, well, not admitted it, but, like, they've disclosed it really stupidly. And Richard actually highlighted this. Richard Lewis also highlighted this as well. It's hard to expose the org. No, the thing is, why they're not exposing it is because it prejudices trials. That's why you don't say anything about it. That's why, like, older guys and stuff like that, like, they don't talk about it because you prejudice a trial, and you don't want to do that. You want to put these guys away for a long time.
It's probably a little strange to the FBI to hear that it's about esports betting and not sports betting as well.
So basically, they came to their first sort of international betting fraud match fixing conference with Interpol back in December of 2019. And I addressed that meeting, and that would have been their first encounter with esports. And then obviously the world kind of exploded in 2020. I got too busy to carry this on. But also esports betting didn't really grow in America in a legal sense. I mean, there's a lot of people betting on esports in America, but they're all betting illegally. The legal betting scene has been very, very slow to take off because people are much more interested in traditional sports betting, you know, NFL, and so all those deals have been really getting.
I'm gonna say this right now. Yes, that's like they're all into the NBA, the NFL, and MLB. When I talk to a lot of the American guys, like that I know of, that aren't in esports, they're all about NFL, NBA, and stuff like that. But this is irrelevant.
Getting up and running because sports betting was only really legalized in the previous year. So there's a long way to go in terms of legalized esports betting in the United States. There's still only about 7 states where it's even legal as part of their sports betting rollout. Right. So we've the sort of creation of a legal betting framework for esports in America is going to have it working well and serving the esports betting community well is going to take another 5 years because the regulation of sports betting in America is just chaotic. It's state by state, it's tribal authority by tribal authority. And
it's Interpol. And by the way, the thing that Ian is talking about, like, this is another side topic. If you ever wonder why COVID's so badly handled in America, listen to what Ian's saying. You have to go through state by state by state. Can you imagine how COVID procedure goes when you have to do it state by state by state? He's complaining about the exact same thing.
Most of the states have got absolutely no idea what they're doing. So you've basically got 50 different potential regulatory and licensing regimes. It's a mess.
It's similar to what the UFC dealt with.
You know. Sorry, what was that?
It's similar to what the UFC dealt with. They had to get individual approval in every different state to be able to operate in them.
And you know, they're a sport with a very high profile where you've got one single governing body that can go along and lobby and do deals. Esports doesn't have that, right? Esports is 50 different sports, all trying to sort of carve their way around, and you've got the big ones, the ones that are good betting products are Counter-Strike, Dota 2, and League of Legends, which basically means that it's Riot and Valve, and neither of those companies have the slightest interest in supporting or fostering a betting environment or culture.
Yeah, Valve don't do anything, and Riot don't.
We're not an organization that advocates for betting. We're an organization that really exists because betting exists. We're pragmatic. We're not out there trying to get people to bet on esports. You know, I'm completely new.
Depends on the power on who is in said state. No, it's in general. Like, you have to like go to 50 states to get everything legalized. It's not just, you know, Democrats and Republicans. It's like kind of beyond that. That's what I'm trying to say in the US. Like, you have to get it done in 50 different states, and some people have no idea what they're doing.
Neutral in that respect. But
yeah, I think we'll leave it here because, like, basically they talk about the NA scene and the AU scene, and as you can see there, like, a lot of people have taken out of that the AU scene, the 42 people that are banned, are all match fixers, which is completely and utterly false. Like, you can see there, like, he basically says it's only a small number out of those 42 that could be match fixing. Okay, like, they've referred it to the authorities. And every single cunt that comes in here being like, oh, 42 match fixers, you can tell their IQ is fucking 0 because A, they don't read the report, B, they read headlines, and C, they don't actually go to the source of the person actually saying it. And Ian Smith himself says it, like, it's a very small group. They're dealing with idiots most of the time where they, you know, have it in the, you know, area and stuff like that. With the NA scene, very, very poor to hear, like, where betting agencies are going to players and asking them to throw matches. And this is what I said before when, you know, when I was talking about match fixing and stuff like that, when players talking to betting agencies and people that do skin bettings, just don't shut the door. You got to shut the door, okay? Because if you open that little crack, they'll start asking about people, okay? Like, that's what they do. You got to be like, sorry, man, you know, don't want to give any information to you. Because that's what they do. These betting agencies, they try to fit them through the door. They try to get the syndicates going. They go, oh, you know, how's T-Bub today? Oh, no, T-Bub literally just broke up with his wife and he's going to be playing really poor today. They operate on information to try and get better odds, to try and win, okay? Like, you know, the house always got to win. And players are going to realize that, like, in these esports scenes, that any information given about, like, certain people's scenarios and stuff like that weighs heavily in the betting market and stuff like that. Like, you know, and sometimes people get rewards, like, you know, they'll be like, oh, you know, for this game, I give you $5,000, more than what they would get by doing it honestly. And most of them think they're going to get away with it. In reality, they don't, you know. Eventually they get caught up, and eventually a chat log releases and someone, you know, gets caught. Now, a lot of these people are like, you know, they feel like they won't get caught. Well, you guys are going to get caught eventually. Like, you know, either you look on your back behind your shoulder like this for the rest of your life, or you get caught. And eventually, like I can tell you now, you're just going to get caught. Okay, like all the things that you try to run away from, they come around 10 times as hard later in life. And this is what happens with match fixing as well. You don't get away with it. Like, you don't get away with it, because eventually someone's going to pick up the pieces and pin you down, and you are going to get suspended for it. Now, I find match fixing despicable. It's just a short-term solution. Like, if you go, oh, I needed money, I needed bills to pay, understandable, but it's still the wrong way to go about it. Like, you could have easily, like, you could have been like, oh, you know, esports probably not for me, get a part-time job on the side, do the hard, honest labor. The short-term shortcuts do not work out for you in the end. If you do the hard yards, maybe you get a part-time job as the store manager instead and get a bit of a raise, you know, and it helps you out. Match fixing doesn't reward you, okay? It just completely kills your esports career the moment it's found out. And a lot of people who, apparently someone has said most of them moved to Valorant and stuff like that because Riot's now investigating. I've got the article here for Riot. And like, a lot of these people are going to realize that the carpet's going to be taken out from under them, and that they're going to be facing a kind of a ban, obviously, from the games, and potentially a prison sentence as well. And there'll be a lot of rotten tomatoes thrown at these players as well, I can only imagine, because a lot of people are really, really pissed off that the game that they love and enjoy, and some of the results may have been like a, you know, manipulated to fit a certain criteria or scenario for someone else in the scene. And a lot of people can be really pissed off to hear that, and maybe pissed off at the names and disappointed in names that when they do come down in the end that are involved with this, because it is a very, very dark stain that, like, you know, especially if they've, you know, especially if it's some known players as well, that if this occurs at any point, you know, like, people are going to be very, very disappointed. And I'm just going to be really pissed off overall, because essentially this sort of thing kind of kills scenes. Like, the AU scene's been essentially hit incredibly hard because of this thing as well. And yeah, you know, in the meantime though, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys about these stuff. I don't care who it is at the moment. I'm gonna be very disappointed when we find out who they are. Okay, like, I'm gonna be incredibly disappointed. I'm gonna be pretty pissed off, and I'm not gonna say like they're the entire reason that that's gonna be, you know, over and done with. Like, the, you know, scene falling apart. A lot of people pointing fingers everywhere about the NA scene being like, you know, TO is this, TO is that. I think basically Valorant's just offering a lot of money at the moment, and NA players are going to take it. Now, and match fixing has just been a bit of a symptom of it, where people were like going, oh, I'll match fix here and go to Valorant kind of thing. Now, I'm not sure, you know, who've done it, obviously, but like, some people think it's because of that. Like, they just go, oh, it's the Valorant factor. Like, people straight away say, hey, you know, we're going to Valorant anyway, so it doesn't matter if we get banned here kind of thing. Now, the worst part is that it is classic match fixing, which is really, really bad, because that means a betting agency is involved as well, and I'll probably hear all about it later, and hopefully just get rid of them from the scene altogether. And I'm not sure where the cards are going to fall after this for the NA scene. Like, no, not sure at all. There's nothing about the EU scene. A lot of people are thinking like the EU scene's going to be tested next. Not entirely too sure what's going on there either. There's been obviously a lot of cries from left and right about, you know, certain tournaments. Like, I mean, I get all the bettors in here crying about it all the time. Most of the time I ignore it, because it's usually them being fucking stupid and, you know, obviously the wrong team. Like, they don't even do the research, basically. But let's get to the next thing. Okay, next thing is this. Okay, next thing is this. Okay, so this has been very lowly reported, by the way. Like, very lowly reported. Only really Norte and a few others have been really interested in it, as well as MNMZ. Okay, he's been really interested in it. And this is fucking ridiculous, okay? Like, I talked about this last week. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, seriously. Like, I'm not even kidding at this point. Like, people go, like, ESA should do something. ESA can't do anything. It's the players themselves. It is... I just literally cannot believe it. Like, I cannot believe this, okay? Like, I cannot believe in this day and age that DDoS is happening on an online tournament. And secondly, I cannot believe that people, players, bettors, whatever, would do this, okay? Like, talk about being desperate not to lose and to basically get yourselves banned for life, okay? From anything, okay? Like, this is absolute cretin material. You must be an absolute fucking person devoid of fucking moral ethics. If you think it's funny, or if you think it's not fun, so not funny, or you have to DDoS people so your thing can be right. Like, that is fucking cretin material, and you should be absolutely fucking disgusted at yourself if this is occurring. Happened all the time in 2014 and 15. Yes, a lot of people talked about that, where they were actually DDoSing the servers themselves. And it's like, a lot of people are saying, oh, now let's just get rid of the casters and play it offline. Like, is this what you want the fucking CSGO scene to be? Is where you don't get to bet on anything at all? Because this is the sort of shit you're doing. Just because you're going to lose about $10 or $20 on betting because you fucking suck and you don't check the teams, doesn't mean you DDoS the fucking team that you want to lose. Like, then you don't have a product. You won't have things to bet on because betting agencies will not give odds for offline events because they don't know it's on. Because if they won't give them the line, because if they know it's on, then they'll start DDoSing. And not to mention the entire fucking Recon Black team had to go to another house to play because of the DDoSing. Now, like, a lot of people suggest ideas like, you know, ESA put all these guys onto land. I'm saying ESA aren't going to pay for that. It is actually not ESA's problem. People should stop blaming ESA. It is not their problem at all. It is the fucking players who are basically setting up scrim servers, setting up stuff to IP grab, and then giving it out to people and DDoSing it. I'm not sure how it's occurring, but it's the people who are DDoSing in the first place. Like, you shouldn't be pointing fingers at ESA. It's not their problem. It's not the servers. It is actually players themselves being DDoSed. And I think what ESA can do is offer a scrim system, which they already do. You can go to the ESA website and check the scrim system in the Discord. And if anyone's not using the official scrim system, they should be disqualified from ESA if you're going to do it that way. So it prevents this IP grabbing from happening and prevents this DDoS from happening. That is one way you can deal with it. Like, if you're an ESA league, you must scrim on ESA. You can't scrim on anything else. And I think they might have to do that because we can't have this happening again where teams are being eliminated purely because of some soft cunt or some angry cunt or some guy like on another team who wants certain teams to lose. We don't know who it is, obviously. But seriously, we can't deal with this shit. Like, NACS is already dying and some guy thinks it's a good idea to be like, oh, let's mess with the advanced scene. Like, if this is another player, I'll be absolutely disgusted. Like, literally just ban them forever, obviously. Like, that's the first move, just ban them forever. And, like, literally be like, dude, what the hell were you thinking? Okay, like, they'll become a pariah in esports, obviously. They'll become an absolute pariah in esports if anyone's even found out doing this. And, so the DDoS has happened to Recon Black multiple times. They also happened twice to X13's opponents. And that's pretty much it. I don't think the DDoSes have all stopped now. But, like, it's getting a bit ridiculous where Recon 5 Black, who's basically Recon 5's academy teams per se, had to field 8 goddamn players to play out that BO3. Okay? And essentially, what Norte said is that one thing to note is that these were before they were listed on the HLTV page, okay? So people are thinking it is literally not being betting or HLTV related. So they're not sure yet. And they think it's just being bad actors trying to cause trouble and be asses. Now, that's the two things. Like, if Norte is right, or Danish, I believe, is right in that assessment, and is other players in NA scene, fucking disgusting. Like, fucking, you're a shame to the community. And thank fuck, you can just go take your fucking suitcases and go to fucking Valorant. We don't need your fucking shit here. Like, seriously, like, if you think that's fair and that's like somehow going to make you better, it is going to make you worse of a player if you rely on underhand and tactics to win. Okay, like, instead of getting better, You know, you rely on DDoSing your opponents so they can't play. That's not fair. That's not cricket. And you're never going to get any better, okay? You can't do that in ESC Premier. You can't do it in ESL Pro League because the pros are going to be like, no, you play on this server instead. That's officiated. We don't want to play on your backwater server. We play on this server. And they will call you out on Twitter as well. Like, they will have the balls to call you out. They won't think it's, you know, they won't think it's usual. And it gets worse. Like, this is what I'm talking about, okay? Like, it doesn't just affect the losing team. It affects the winning team. I mean, look at the thing I retweeted earlier. Like, look at this tweet. Look at this tweet. This guy is pissed off. Like, this guy is pissed off. His team won. He was on the winning team. You see here? He's on the winning team. He's on bid chilling. He's mad. Like, he doesn't enjoy this. Like, he's pissed off. Like, do you think this is a good idea? Because these people are just going to be like, dude, why the fuck am I waiting here 4 or 5 hours a night when I can go flip burgers and get minimum wage? Okay? And put moolah in the bank. And actually have fun, potentially. Like, I could go out of town and drink my friends. Like, that sort of shit. Instead of dealing with tech issues and stuff like that. Like, seriously, guys. Like, anyone who's doing this sort of shit, wake the fuck up to yourselves. Okay? You are literally spreading misery around because your inability to play the game is like, you know, I don't know. You're just being bad faith actors. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know why you're so miserable that you want to do this sort of shit to people. Because it's not making you any happier because you're still going to be rubbish and a shit person altogether. And you are literally dragging people down to be miserable as well who want to just play the game. Okay? And you're just being a sore loser as well, in my opinion, if it's a player. Being an absolute sore loser. You can't hack it. And let me just tell you the bad news as well. You are never going to become a professional player if you can't hack losing. Okay? It happens. The best people have lost before. I mean, look at one of the best teams in the ESL Pro League at the moment being Australis. Look how many times they had to choke to NIP, choke the various teams in the grand final. Like, how many times did they lose? Fuck tons. And did they fucking like quit and start DDoSing people? Nah. Anyways. We got that out of our system. That's how pissed off I'm about the situation. Like, this is how pissed off I get about betting and about DDoSing. I think it's absolutely pathetic. And it's just loser mentality. Absolute loser mentality. Now, the next one is that Winstrike lose their team. And, yeah, this is kind of weird. Basically, they've left. So we got this twit longer here. And Winstrike's going to become ex-Winstrike. This team will get picked up very quickly. I don't see this team being out of org for too long. I think any team's going to snap them up. This team's actually really good. They got, Crad, Nickelback, good AGL from Prosto. You got Lackey, you got Elon, you got Forrester. You got a lot of good players in there. They picked up pretty quickly. Some of these guys are from, obviously, Hard Legion. And Hard Legion's, like, literally, like, filled with fucking scandals. So, obviously, the good players left. Next up is basically, this is all in Russian. We should probably translate it. And I'm not going to say anything. There's a lot of ads here. Let's just translate it quickly, okay? So, me and my team, blah, 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 declared at Unifate. We declared it. Just go away, ads. Seriously. Yes, stop seeing this ad. Don't care. We'll try not to show it. Just go away. Oh, this game, man. Anyway, let's go. Dude, how many WoW ads there? There's like 5 WoW ads. Like, I'm not even kidding. There are like 5 WoW ads here. So, my team of Elon, Lackey, Nickelback, Custom declare we unanimously terminate contracts with Winstrike due to systematic violations of our contractual obligations by the organization. From now on, we consider our first free agents and we'll play next match under the X Winstrike tag. I actually suggested for them to capitalize the X and then dash Winstrike. At the moment, we refrain from public comments on this topic, so if I don't have the opportunity to decide to publicize the deals of what happened. So in other words, basically, Winstrike, something bad happened to them, and they're looking for a team. Now, I'm not sure what happened. Either way, like, this team will be picked up very quickly. Like, I can't not imagine this team won't be picked up. I mean, they'll be, like, got a lot of good players on it. A lot of orgs maybe circling around to find a team in EU at the moment. You never know. Like, there's a lot of NA orgs, so I don't imagine an NA org picking one up anyway, because NA orgs, of course, as you guys may know, they only care if they can make money on it, and they don't want it, like, they want to make money on it and to put the least amount of effort into it. Like, as you guys have seen, with roster matchup from a lot of the NA teams, they just don't know what they're doing. We also talked about, did we talk about Cloud9 as well? I think we didn't talk about Cloud9, but I'll talk about that now, actually. We'll get into Cloud9 very shortly. No, we're not doing that. So yeah, so we get an article here from Dextero. So we want to talk about Cloud9 here as well. So Cloud9 leaves CSGO. This is done by Bill Cooney, obviously. And they've left CSGO. This is from 1PV being Nell, saying that the team's failure could qualify for EPL season playoffs. They wanted to decide to stop the CSGO program, so it's going to confirm that the temporary disbandment. All the players on the bench, and it would stop its, Fingo scene. Essentially, what's happened is that S-Tag, Messi, Floppy, Zapod, and all that stuff are on the bench. They thought it was the out of season April Fool's joke, and I gotta say now, Cloud9, I think there was something going on in the team that they want to be together, and there were issues within the team. I gotta say with Cloud9, they did put a big try at it, and now there's another team in Flashpoint that's not going to be there because Cloud9 are going to just break the deal, obviously. I like how it says have dragged on longer, and basically, they couldn't provide anything for the players. Now, Henry G's, Colossus has obviously failed and fallen apart. And they got rid of Woxic early. They got rid of Cassard early. And I was going to be real with you guys. Like, Cloud9 haven't done a really good job. Okay? They haven't really done a good job at all. And I just don't know what Cloud9 can realistically do at the moment. And they just couldn't get the remote training working at all. And that's what happens in the end. Anyways, let's get back into it. So IEM Solemn qualifiers have been announced, and this will commence from 3rd of June to 13th of June. There'll be 2 open qualifiers in April, and I'll probably try to cast all of them, and I'll probably try and get in touch with the people who are operating it. So the open qualifiers are signing up, and the closed qualifiers are on the 26th and 28th. I believe this is for both NA and EU in the end. So basically it'll be very easy for me to cast, and tick, 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 tick. Qualifiers are going to take place in Europe, as North South America has already decided for the original Open in March, being Extra Salt and I believe Imperial. Yep. And yeah, it'll just basically be the EU event, which I'll cast both open and closed qualifiers for. Let me just check what dates they are. So the 8th and the 9th is on the Thursday and Friday, which will be a Friday and Saturday for me. And, no, it'll still be Thursday and Friday, but just in midnight. And the other qualifiers being 19th and 20th is being Monday and Tuesday. And the closed qualifier obviously is over. Oh no, it's not. It's over on a weekdays. That's interesting. But yeah. No main event, no closed qualifiers. Haven't been announced yet. They'll probably get announced in the next few weeks or so. Would be surprised. Red Bulls also bring back their 2v2, where ironically enough, the Germans ended up winning, and the Finnish team, I believe it's the Finnish duo, were discovered to be hacking, and basically they gave the prize to the second team in the end. Now, basically, there's like a lot of maps here as well. They build on 5 the futuristic maps for 2v2s. And basically they've got multiple qualifiers. So you can see here EU, CS, and Nico qualifier. Not sure what that is. And also there'll be national qualifiers. They'll be at a related date. They also got Anticar 9, G2, OG, Furia, Big have got their essential invites. And yeah. And last but not least, we'll talk about the new ESL play-in. And this is a bit strange, okay? This is a bit interesting compared to previous play-ins. So basically there was 4 groups in ESL Pro League. And essentially the teams would play each other, and the winner would go to... So basically if you came 2nd or 3rd, you'll be basically playing in a round of 12. And you go to a round of 8. And then that will become... the losers will be... I believe the losers here will be eliminated. So essentially if you lose in this bracket here, you'll be eliminated. And then basically at the round of 8, these 2 teams will play each other. And then the loser will drop into here. And then the winner will drop into here. So basically that's pretty much it. So the loser will go to quarterfinals, winner go to semifinals. And this is a definitely a good change. Meaning that, even if you come first in your group in a previous area, you get some sort of benefit. And it may be rolled back or changed given the fact that it's a big benefit. Like, for example, even if you lose the play-in, you are basically skipping 2 BO3s you have to play. And the winner of it gets to skip 3 BO3s. So it could potentially be changed in the future where they only get to skip 1 BO3 and the other team gets to skip 2 BO3s for winning, since they have to win a BO3 to begin with. But, you know, it gives them a, you know, a bit of advantage compared to the other teams who have to play multiple BO3s to get there. Actually, sorry, it's 2 BO3s v 1, so they get only a 1 BO3 advantage. Maybe I can take that one back. And then the grand finals altogether will be here. So basically, the winner of play in 1 and 2, you know, will already get spots to the semifinals and potentially get in there. Now, guys, well, overall, that's going to be it for today. There isn't much news to really talk about. I know it's only been online for 42 minutes, but that's pretty much chill time for today. It's only probably been like 37 minutes. That's only the main things I did want to talk about was mainly the NA scene match fixing and also the NA DDoSing as well. I was pretty frustrated with it, and yeah, also as well, guys, like very, very frustrated with it. What else? No, that should be it. If you guys enjoyed the quick video about it, subscribe and share the video. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day on YouTube. If you guys are on Twitch, we'll be, you know, continuing afterwards, and you know, we'll be doing some things on the side. So hope to see you guys a little bit later from the YouTube. From the Twitch end, you guys can join it. You know, of course, you're already on the channel. We're doing more content as well. If you want to see it live as well, come to the Twitch channel as well. So please like, share, and subscribe, and comment if you know of any feedback or anything that I missed for the CSGO scene. So see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.